Call the meeting to order. Dave, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Seth, would you like to start the roll call?
President Brennan.
Here.
Ms. Fry.
Present.
Mr. Hanna.
Present.
Mr. Rondo.
Present.
Mr. Stein.
Here.
Mr. Bodadian.
Here.
Mr. Youngkins.
Here.
Council is all present.
Thank you. So we're going to start our reports off. I'd just like to make a quick statement on from the President of Council's report. I just want to let everyone know that Munhall Borough did meet with representatives of the library. There's been a big controversy. I don't know how the controversy was made, but it was not started by Munhall Borough. Munhall Borough has no intention of ever infringing on the parking around the library. We've had complaints, I've had complaints to me about parking in the area of the library from residents. So we addressed it, we talked about it. We talked about it at the workshop, we talked about it at several other places, and what we wanted to do was try and make a tight situation a little bit better. And that's all that was discussed. So in our meeting with the representatives of the library board, which was a good meeting, Rob False was there, the mayor, Seth was there, and the chief of police was there. It went very well. We talked about issues and ways that we could present to the library, to the people, and to the businesses on the avenue, how we could all work together and try to resolve any issues that could be spoken about parking there. And it was a very good meeting. There were 3 representatives from the library there. Carol Shreve was there by phone. Joe Leonello was there as a board member. Who was the third board member? Do we remember his name?
Mark.
Belsteri.
Yep. So it was a productive meeting. We are going to meet again, and moving forward, we'll be looking at the area down there. The police looked at the last concert there. There were no problems as far as parking that was resolved that they saw, and they did note that there was an influx of parking in certain streets down there. I think it was 9th, 10th, and 11th that the parking had increased, which is going to happen. So I wanted to make that clear that there's no disagreements, there's no personality clashes, everything worked out well, and we're moving forward. Okay, so that is my little report that I'm going to give today. Mayor, would you like to give a report?
Yeah, I echo your comments. It was a very productive meeting. Whatever confusion and miscommunication it was definitely all resolved at that meeting, and it was very productive for all parties involved, for the borough, for the library. And I think, as you can see by tonight, that they were threatening to have hundreds of people here, and I think our meeting, that just shows how productive our meeting was, because there was no need to have that kind of a crowd here, unless they wanted to be.
Right, and I invited them to come if they wanted to. Right. Anything else, Mayor?
Yeah, a couple things actually. This Saturday is the borough yard sale. At this time, we have 54 people that signed up to do the yard sale, and if you didn't sign up, okay, have one anyways. But unfortunately, we just can't get everybody on the list now. The list was made up, and we have, I think, is it 54, Joy? Yeah. One of the unique things is down at the waterfront. They're going to have one in the waterfront apartment parking lot. So that'll be a pretty neat one, I think, to see. I may try to sneak away from my own yard sale to see that one, and maybe a couple others. But that's, I think it's good, it's, community building, and we're gonna see a lot of people out, you'll see your neighbors, and you'll see a lot of people that don't live in Munhall that'll be coming to visit these yard sales. I know of a couple people have told me they're coming in to check out the yard sales, and we got a map actually done up now too. I don't know if you saw it on the website. A volunteer made a map up, so that's also helpful for locations where they are. Another thing is, there was a group that I was working with starting up. There was a lot of people talking about, of course, we all hear this, the recreation, and I think it kind of started from there, but there's a group of people that I've been meeting with, and we're going to call it Munhall Cares. And the Cares is going to be community action, recreation, the E is going to be environmental or economic, and this S is for service. And this is going to be a pool of people that resources that we can draw from, that are willing to help the borough in instances. And then we have some people from the school also involved with this, that are getting involved, and it's just going to be a good resource. And they are, one of the things that they want to do, and I did call the solicitor on this, and I did call Jamie, the grants writer. They want to raise some money for recreation. And the money they raised, and I checked with Jamie, she said if they do raise money, it can go to our part of the recreation budget that we have to put in the matching fund grant. So what's our matching fund? $225, if they can raise $1,000 or $2,000, or if they can raise more. One of the questions, and I guess we'll have to meet Seth, is, when they do start raising money, there is no 501(c)(3) yet. Hopefully, if it's down the road, maybe something like that could happen. But, the money would, how would they get it to the borough,
It can be done as a donation to the
Yeah,
borough.
if we get a donation, they put on the website, you can donate, and a $1,000 check comes in, and direct, that can come right into the borough, and they would just have to mark it for a recreation grant.
Right,
or something.
like any donation you might make to another place if you have a specific thing that you want it used for. So in this case, it might be Munhall Cares or recreation program. Otherwise, technically, it can go into whatever we want to use it for.
Yeah, I mean, they have some people they want to reach out to, so, they have a lot of ideas. It's a good group. The next meeting for that is going to be August 4th. I invite you all to come. Brad came to the meeting last time, and it's the only one here that came tonight. A lot of things are going on. I know some of the people that were involved were New Kids on the Block, and there was the baseball tournament was getting finished up because of the rain out. So I knew some of the ones that wanted to come were also either involved with baseball or they're at the New Kids on the Block concert, which, darn, I missed this year. I don't even care. I wasn't on my list. But the other thing that we're doing, we started up, I was contacted by the Munhall Community Band. I think most of you probably know there is a Munhall Community Band, and they want to do a concert. We were not kicking things around, them and I, and one of the things we came up with was a concert in the park. They would like to do this August 20th in Westfield. There's no stage needed. Chairs would be fine, set up for them. It would be they want to do a 2-hour show from 5 to 7. They would also like to have, a food truck there, and I was talking to Ed just a little bit ago before the meeting. They also brought up, well, maybe it's 5 to 7, let's try to get a couple food trucks, which we're looking into, and also possibly if we can get a beer truck, and the money can go towards the truck fund. Anybody that purchases the beer, because the firemen do have a license to sell.
Why don't we do a fundraiser like that for the recreation grant?
That was actually brought up at the meeting too, that they would like to put some fundraiser together.
That would be a good way to gather some money for that.
If they want to do, a donation thing, that's fine with me there, but I thought I wanted to see this as a free concert for the borough, not,
Okay.
I don't want to see people have to pay to come in. I mean, you guys would be surprised. I don't know how many of you heard them before, and they were in a community a couple years ago, but they can do anything from classical, Mozart, to Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd.
I didn't think New Kids on the Block did that.
No, they don't do it. But they're really good. They're really good. I was invited to one of the practices. They practice on Monday nights. I went down and watched them, and they're really good. I was.
And that's a Friday, night, I believe. Friday night, right?
It's a Saturday night.
It's a Saturday night?
August 20th. Yes.
August 20th. I wrote
It's
the
a
wrong
Saturday,
day.
and the only thing we have on the schedule here is, you know, that 9 a.m. is Local Motion Fitness is gonna be there at 10 a.m. And the other thing we'll need is, Public Works, Bob, I guess we'll need to have, I don't know, we'll need 2 guys to come out, on the shed
Garbage stuff, yeah.
for garbage and stuff, and
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
maybe to help set up the chairs maybe a little bit earlier, because I think they'll be starting arriving probably about 4. But that's all we have, and like the other thing, I do invite you to come to these Munhall Cares meetings. Next one's August 4th, and we'll be getting a little more into the fundraising and what we can do to help raise for this rec grant.
August 4th, where and what time?
The Munhall Cares or the concert, I'm sorry.
Munhall Cares.
The meeting for Munhall Cares will be, we've been meeting here, and it's at 6 o'clock on August 4th. They talked to trying to make the meeting the first Thursday of every month. It was kind of, you know, I'm freed up from council. Thursday seemed like a good day for most of the group that was there last time.
Okay. Anything else, Mayor?
Basically, no, that concludes my report, other than, I don't know if the chief was gonna mention it, but the dog is last week of training, right?
2 more weeks.
2 more weeks, okay, 2 more weeks of training, and hopefully we'll have a visitor here in the August meeting, we'll have the dog here. Canine officer. But I think I'm good.
Thank you, thank you. Solicitor?
Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me. It's been fairly a quiet month on the legal front, which is generally a good thing. Other than communicating with Seth, reviewing some basic agreements and other grant documents, the only real legal activity in the last month has been continuing tax assessment appeals for property. Of course, that's litigation, so I can't talk about any specifics, but by the end of the month, we'll have a detailed summary that we'll submit to the manager and council for your review and update you on what's been happening. If you have any questions, you can call me directly. That concludes my report.
Thank you, thank you. Borough Manager?
My report is on file with council. It is short this month. I really covered the time between the last council meeting and now. It's been a whole lot of meetings with, I think, everyone I can come up with, benefits and payroll to get an understanding of where we are on those pieces. A lot going on, obviously, with the building, a number of meetings with Bill and all of our IT contractors, finance, grant writer and our engineer. We meet on a weekly basis. We also met about the RACP, as well as Jamie and I met with DCNR over Zoom of the Recreation Playground Grant. Was up at 22nd and Main while they were doing the paving to review that with the county and with the excavators, because we had had some traffic light issues. Was out at Troutman and Vine Street Parks with a consultant to start to lay down some more detailed plans as to what those would look like. Obviously, we've already covered the meeting with the library, conversation with civil service to get that moving. The ads are in the paper.
What was the problem with the lights? How was that resolved? Just curious.
There were actually a couple of problems. It turns out one was the contractor had actually hit conduit and they repaired that. We also had an issue where the pedestrian lights, for whatever reason, were not working. It was never determined how it happened because there was concrete over it, so it was not a cut pipe. But we also had that repaired while the street was open.
Good. Thank you. Anything else? He's been busy.
Yeah.
He's been busy.
The only other piece I have, and sorry that I did not make a copy, but I certainly can make a copy for council. Dr. Spellman had sent a letter requesting funds for the Halloween parade this year.
We always do support that. Okay, Borough Engineer?
So just a couple things that we've been working on since last meeting. Most notably being that we finished our review and the award recommendation for the Raymond Butner Way paving project. And we're recommending award to Jake Caruso, the low bidder, in the amount, their bid was in the amount of $327,104. And that's all summarized in my report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions about that if you have them.
Any questions, Council? Okay, Public Works Supervisor?
The only thing I got is, we'll be focusing on moving from the old building to the new building next week or so.
Okay.
Other than that, any questions or anything?
One question I have for you is the park bench, the bench that was removed up by Main Street, and I know a couple of council members are not real pleased with that. Do we still have the bench?
Yes.
Can it be reinstalled?
It'll have to be fixed a little bit.
Okay, so we can look at that then, okay? And I asked council, I believe, Public Works several months ago, as you walk into the old building, the stone that is falling off on that side there, it needs to be put in place. It just needs a little bit of loving and attention there. Whenever you have a spare minute, if you could please do that, I would love to see that done. It's just a real eyesore, okay?
I got a question for him.
Sure, speak up.
I was approached by a couple of people about the benches that are down in Kennedy Park. Is anything can be done with them as far as fixing them up or painting them or something?
I'll look into it. Are they broke or they just need paint?
I don't know. The lady said that, you sit on them and you get splinters or something on them.
Okay.
If something can be done about that, they go down there and sit.
We'll just put some new wood down or something, that's all.
Okay.
Police Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. The police answered 856 calls of service for the month of June. There was 29 arrests. They were all adults. They wrote 35 traffic citations for the month. And it was a busy day today. We actually moved into the new police department today. It moved pretty smoothly. There was a couple minor hiccups with the Wi-Fi, and there's some cameras that still need to be installed. That should all be corrected tomorrow. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Fire Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Bureau of Fire responded 44 times in June. 4 of those were structural fires. The one you know about because I ran out of here about 100 mile an hour. Fortunately, Munhall police were on the road and got the gentleman that was trapped out. Once again, our police stepped up, got him out of the house. And I knew the guy for 30 years. He used to be a fireman with us, so maybe longer. So, great job there. We put in about a little under 1,400 man hours. The response time stayed about the same as they have. We put approximately 75 firefighters through the annual hazmat refresher. I'm proud to say that we used this building and inaugurated the room over there, the community room, and did that here. It was an excellent place to do the class. You're going to really enjoy bringing stuff like that in here because it was a good venue to do that. So we did that. Engine 201 has been sold, the old engine, to a company in
Picker, Alabama.
Alabama, so they bought it. And that money, they sold that for, I don't know, like $25,000. That money goes back into the truck fund to support that endeavor. And speaking of the truck fund, I'll be asking council to release that portion of my budget. So you'll see that whammo in the budget next time. I always send a letter to council and ask for that portion to be released so that can go into the truck fund. So that keeps us solvent, so council's portion of that. So, does anybody have any questions for the fire department?
I have a question.
Sir.
How do they transport the fire truck from here to Alabama?
Leonardo?
They sent us a cashier's check, and we gave it to the truck fund, We took our truck up to Still Valley High School parking lot, they flatbed it. The guy called us, he was supposed to pick it up on Friday, he called us Thursday, he says, "I'm here." So we drove the truck up to the parking lot, drove it on the flatbed, he changed the dime, and off it.
Wow.
That was the,
That had to be a big flatbed.
Yeah,
that was the highest amount that we could get for that truck. It's been on the market for 8 months. It's a flooded market, but nevertheless, that should share with you some of the reasons why we had to replace it. So,
yeah, they called
but
us.
they're
and
getting a
said-
deal done.
Yeah, they said they needed a truck. You know, how soon would he get it? Oh, they'd send us a check. They did, they sent us the check on Monday, and it was delivered Friday evening. And they sent us pictures of the truck being in our station.
Wow.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
That's great. Thank you for the input. Code enforcement officer?
You have a copy of my report, I'll briefly read it. Building permits 2, occupancy inspections 20, code enforcement issues or letters sent out. Motor vehicle for 3, garbage 1, overhang extensions 1, weeds 9, roofs and drainage 1, exterior walls 1, accessory structure 1, general plumbing 1, dumpster permits 10, and ordinance 1506. Also had 3 court hearings. 1 was found guilty, $1,000 fine. 1 was given a continuance for 45 days, and 1 was removed. Also, I'm not sure what date, but the zoning hearing board will be hearing a side yard variance. A gentleman up on West Etna Street wants to build a 2-car addition with a room on top, so he has to get a variance from the zoning board. I'm not sure what the date is yet.
Okay,
That concludes my report.
thank you. Finance chair?
I'm turning it over to Seth. He's going to
Okay.
read the report.
Very good, thank you.
The report for this month is very brief, only because we don't have month close from our accountants yet for the month of June. So I can tell you, based off our finance committee meeting, that we did finish the month of June with approximately $2 million in the general fund. There are no immediate current large debts due at this time. And I remain optimistic that we will finish the year with a small surplus.
Awesome.
In the
Thank you.
meantime, I am trying to delve deeper into getting things in a more timely manner and getting down to some of the more granular that I know council wants.
I know you are. I know you are. And the sewer authority, is anyone here? Thank you all. Any speakers tonight who'd like to speak? Please come up. Say your name.
Emma Carter,
Emma.
113th Avenue. So how many police officers are we replacing, hiring?
I believe 2, we're going to try to hire 2, yes.
And how many were on duty on July 4th at night?
I'm not sure, I'd have to look at the schedule. At least between 2 or 3.
Okay, I don't like that. And then I have comments on items for consideration. Should I ask it now or wait?
You can wait a second. So I have a question for you. What was the problem on the 4th of July? Was it
I
fireworks?
just don't think that's enough people. Homestead had 6.
Okay.
And I don't think, I just don't see how 2 or 3 police officers can cover when we know how 4th of July goes with all the fireworks, and we were told that they were going to be chased down, the calls.
Understood?
I'm not complaining about the police department, I'm complaining about, I have a concern about how many people are staffed, and that this could be prevented.
Okay,
So that's mine.
point taken.
Okay.
Any other speakers? Anyone have anything else to speak about? Please come up. I'm not sure what your name is.
Good evening.
What is your name?
My name is Jenny Easton.
That's right.
I'm with Pashak MTR, here to provide a very brief update about the comprehensive plan that's underway for Munhall Homestead and West Homestead. We, Pashak MTR, were selected in a competitive process to create a comprehensive plan for the 3 boroughs, working together. We're a landscape architecture and community planning firm based on the city's north side. So the former borough manager was our primary liaison for the project. So at this time, I just wanted to check in with everybody, keep the information flowing, let you know the project's underway and where we are with it, and let you know that I can be in contact. I'll leave cards with Mr. Abrams. Anybody, please feel free to email or call me with any suggestions or to check in as the project continues. So the comprehensive plan, as you may know, is an officially adopted policy document that lays the framework for future land use, development, and zoning. It's a high-level blueprint for what people would like to see happen in the community in the long term, during the next decade in particular. So as part of the process, we're asking people what they want to see happen here in the next 10 years. How should that translate into budget priorities and actions for your council? We've been working with a steering committee appointed by the councils on public outreach and discerning what the key issues are that the community collectively feels should be a priority for the next 10 years. And most recently, we've had our heads down exploring strategies and what we can do to add the most value for the boroughs. We kicked off the project more than a year ago using a grant the community's received from DCED. And we've been engaged primarily in public engagement. So what's novel about our approach to this process compared to previous comprehensive plans for this and other communities is that we're using the implementable comprehensive plan model, meaning that we spend a lot of energy figuring out what's really important to the people who live here, things that people really care about seeing addressed in the long term, and then devising detailed action strategies for specifically those things. So that relies on having a really solid foundation of public engagement. So when we started the process, we did our typical things. We launched a project website. The boroughs promoted it on social media. We have a project Facebook page. We did paid ads. We've appeared at events, including Fish Fries and Open Doors Homestead. We'd like to appear at all 3 community days this summer. We reached out to more than 40 people to interview, conducted interviews with 35 of them. We've been engaging local groups most recently, the Homestead Business Roundtable, the Enterprise Zone. But we started to slow walk the engagement process because we weren't connecting with the cross-section we needed to feel confident that the public engagement reflected the whole community. So we built more time into our timeline than we originally intended doing the public engagement. So that's where we're at now. We're transitioning to coming up with strategies to address the key issues we're hearing from the public, but I would be open to any suggestions that any of you have for reaching people in the community, for people who should still be interviewed, for focus groups we can pull together. If there's any stone we've left unturned with regard to reaching people out in the communities and hearing from them about what's important for the borough to accomplish during the next 10 years, I am all ears. I would encourage you to contact me. In the next few months, of course, we're pivoting to developing strategies for the issues that people have told us they care about most. At this point, that's looking like connectivity. That seems to be important in all 3 communities. So that's walking routes, safe, accessible alternatives to driving, and then, of course, traffic issues. Strategic service provision, whether there are economies to be achieved by working together in different ways across the communities, housing and neighborhood stability, kind of just basic building blocks, and accelerating equitable growth, which might look like designing incentives and messaging to attract and engage young people, young residents and entrepreneurs to locate here, focusing on the business districts and what would make sense now to fortify them, build them up, and cultivating kind of a unique Steel Valley identity. This place is really special. There's a lot attracting people here right now. So we think with a little focused attention, you can capitalize on that and use it to your advantage. Any immediate suggestions or questions?
I have a couple of comments.
Yes, sir.
So I met you at the Enterprise Zone. I think you should revisit the Enterprise Zone. Also, I think you should focus some of your interest on Munhall, because some of the groups that you're talking about are basically focused on Homestead and 8th Avenue. So maybe you should look at focusing on the borough of Munhall and trying to get a different approach, because there are different segments, you know, from town to town. And basically, I think going to the 3 community days would be a good thing. I think you should talk with the mayor. You missed the mayor's talk about his
The concert in the park?
No, the community cares
Oh, the
meeting.
community cares group.
Yeah, that would be a good meeting for you to sit down and talk to young people exactly who are into trying to change some of the demographics in the area. So, you should talk to the mayor and get and follow up with him as well, okay?
Or
Anyone else?
Pardon me, coffee can't stay the whole meeting.
I'm Rainey Fry, and only because I am on Parks and Rec. I would love to be able to talk to you, so if you could leave us a card with your phone or email, I would love to be in touch with you.
That would be great, thank
To
you.
talk.
Anyone else? Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. Any other speakers?
Hi, I'm Brad Triga. I'm from 1332 Margaret Street, and I have a 2-year-old, and I really care about the parks and taking my son to various places in the community. We head over to Homestead and a couple other areas in the community, and when I heard about this recreation grant that's coming up and hearing about the improvements at Troutman and Vine potentially, I had a wonderful conversation with Seth yesterday, and it was very encouraging about the direction that that's headed. So I guess I wanted to follow up with the rest of council just to check in and see how that process is going from your perspective, and then also if there's any other plans in the future to address any of the other parks in the community moving forward. That's all I had.
Thank you. And I think Seth did address that somewhat earlier in his report, that he is working on those 2 grants, those 2 projects. And certainly we're hoping to get something started because next year we have to have that done by next year.
Right.
So hopefully we get it done and we get some improvements, and we're all certainly interested in moving our parks forward. For families like yours especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to just know, and this really occurs for 90+% of our grants, they're reimbursement grants. So not only does it take planning and application for them, but then you have to be able to front the money, whether it's a matching grant or not usually, to make sure that happens. So that also, just a capital outlay of $500,000, even if we might get it all back, won't happen until later. So budget factors do factor into that, which is why we can't often go one after another, because I think if we could, council would direct us to do so. But we have to look and make sure that we have the funds for what we're applying for and that we can do a good project with it. If we have $10,000, it's not going to get us anything in a play space except for a couple of trees. So it's trying to balance that, but I think the energy is behind because I follow it their direction.
I'd like to make mine. I think it's important, okay, from the standpoint that people don't really understand how grants work, okay? So you're the bank in the beginning, okay? You fill out all the paperwork, you approve it, you put up the money, then you're reimbursed.
Right.
That's what's happening at this building here, okay? So we have a grant, like, same thing's gonna happen with paving, okay? Same thing's happening with this building, same thing will happen with the 221,000 matching grant. That means we put up 221, state puts up 221, okay? The 221 comes back, we still put up 221. So when people, and I see things on, the Munhall community page, and it's really an education thing, okay? It's like, I don't think anyone has anything against parks, okay? But at the same time, we have a fiduciary responsibility to run the borough itself. And there are a lot of needs, there's no question of that. Quite honest, it was a struggle getting into this building. And for everybody's knowledge, today, administration moved in, police moved, so the telephone system works, 911 works, okay? Police network works, some of this, we're still working on camera. That amount of time and effort that was put in by Seth, the police department, myself, 3 different contractors, not a single contract, 3 different contractors, okay, is the number of hours it takes just to, it's a Herculean effort. So now that we get past this, okay, which will soon, the other things, looking at, as we go into next year, in our planning process next year, we have essentially a new council and a new borough manager. And what we have is we will have more input than previously by police, fire, public works, and the leadership in those areas will, need to step up, and I know they will, right there, to be part of that active process, which we will start our budgeting process in August, in September this year. So it's a hard thing, and it's, we want to get there. Like example, Seth, can we put wood chips down of just any variety into a park?
No, we cannot.
No, we cannot, okay? We got a chipper though, right? Okay, that we do, which we have that, we grind up trees and things like that, but we can't use the chips in the park, okay? I don't think you would want your kids with splinters, right? In their knees. So there's a lot of thought that gets going.
I think the biggest question, you say social media, like the Munhall community page, the borough needs to put out more. Like, no one, unless they come here, a lot of people with family, kids, they don't want to come sit here on a Tuesday night and hear you guys. Put something on social media, on the Facebook page, on, community, the police have that community watch page. Put something out. Be more, come out to the community a little bit more, and they won't be bashing so much on them, because when they don't hear nothing from you guys, that's the easiest thing to do. They sit here, when everyone's quiet, then they're not saying, they're going to crush you guys, I promise you, and I'll probably be one of them. I'm telling you right now, if you're not being proactive with the community, they don't know nothing, that's what happens. And I'm sorry, but you're not going to get people coming down here. Get, 15 people? We need to get more people. We gotta get more, community, involvement. I'm trying to help as much. I got enough shit on my plate, but I still want to help and make sure the Munhall is great, and we have to have that. I mean, people back here working, trying to get a community plan. It is a community plan for all three boroughs, because if Homestead fails, Munhall is going to fail. If West Homestead fails, someone's going to fail. If someone fails, we all fail. If you look at the 8th Avenue Business District, the Homestead, West Homestead side looking beautiful. But what are we doing to make the Munhall side look better? What are we doing to make Main Street look better? What are we doing to make West Street look better? We honestly have to do a lot more together and make sure, Homestead, Munhall, we already still out. All our kids go to school together. We have to make sure we're doing shit as all of us. I know we want to say, we're separate, but we're not. Because you say you live in Munhall, or you live in Homestead, or you say you live in West Homestead, or you live in Homestead. No matter what community you live in, it comes back to that. And I'll give you my information.
Okay, great, thank you.
That, I forgot a question that was like the follow-up for the rest, but, how can we be, as a community, how can we be helpful in that process? Not just with the recreation grant, but just being more involved and helpful in the process with parks and recreation.
Well, we do have a Parks and Recreation Committee, and you can certainly be a part of it. Absolutely.
I think eventually, I'd like to see the Parks and Recreation Committee, get involved with the Munhall Cares a little bit, because they'll be hopefully coming to Munhall Cares meetings to see what you guys are talking about and what some of the things.
So y'all have to take a step back for a minute, because what y'all don't realize is what Bill spoke about. Moving from that building to this building has been a Herculean adventure, is what you said, I believe. Now,
It was an adventure.
That being said, we've lost our borough manager. We've been chasing our tail, wagging to get to this point. We're only right now starting to move forward with being able to talk on the internet and being able to speak to issues. With a lead person, what y'all don't realize is a borough manager is the leader of the council. He's our force that we send out, that he can go out and see what's going on, like what was going on 22nd Avenue. He is our eyes and vision. If a council doesn't have a borough manager to work with, we were doing all the work that he was doing. So many days Rainey Fry was in there. Every councilman was here, was in the office working. So it's been quite an adventure to get to this point. And certainly from now to the end of this year and into next year, I think Munhall will see a big change in our town. And I think that we will be more aggressive with communications to the town. We definitely need website working. We need all that stuff to put messages out there. What we have is terrible. It's horrible. We know that. It's not something we're not aware of. We certainly want to let people know that everyone is welcome to come and help and be a part of the community. And that's what community is, so.
Yeah, and we appreciate, the
Right.
community, I'm sure, appreciates.
Right.
I'll speak for myself at least. I know I appreciate the work you guys have been doing, and a lot of it's typically not seen. So, and thanks, Seth, for talking on the phone with me as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate it. Any other speakers?
Rick, I just want to reiterate one thing that Rick said. I know when I went door to door, there were 90% of people who didn't know this building was going in, okay? And we're saying, oh, it's going in, okay? And I will tell you, every place I went, I said, I will be involved, I will be transparent, I will listen. And I am on that Parks and Rec committee. I'm telling you, I'm not giving you excuses, people, but if you would have been a new member like Dave and I were back in January and had to deal with all the commotion, you would understand. It's hard to have a Parks and Rec committee when you don't have a borough manager. We needed a police chief. We need an assistant. I'm telling you, you can't run a borough if you don't have the people in place. And we are trying. And just what Rick said, I will say that God bless Seth, because that man and Bill Hanna are working overtime, okay? Well, you will see a difference. And I will, personally, I will have Parks and Rec. That's what I said to her. I think she said her name's Jessica. I will get involved. I didn't feel comfortable as the finance chair that I'm not going to do that. I dreaded this because that is not my expertise, but I will be involved in all the other issues, and I promise you that. And you can come to me and we can talk, and that's what I think we want to do with all the community, okay?
Listen, Seth's plate's been full, and and I know Seth has looked at the Munhall community website, which I guess basically I've been mostly been on it. And I think you're gonna see on the top that we're gonna try to get he needs to get some things done here first, and then I think we are gonna set up a good borough page, and not like one that I am managing right now, which is okay, but it's not that great.
But you answer
I
questions.
think you'll see that.
Mayor, that's the biggest thing.
So can we move forward? Any public comments for items of consideration?
Thank you. So why are there blanks? Is there supposed to be blanks at like number, sorry.
So first off, we're gonna strike number 8. We're gonna cross that off for tonight,
Okay, but I just have a comment about number 8.
okay?
So let's pretend there was a number 8. It says exceed 6 months. Is that so we can avoid paying benefits?
We're not speaking about employees, okay? And we've stricken this,
Okay,
and
I got it.
we're not talking about it,
Okay,
okay?
I get
So
it.
go ahead, let's move forward if you have any other questions on anything.
Well, it's number 9's blank.
Number 9, we're gonna vote.
Okay, my question though, whatever, is
There's a lot of blanks.
is it supposed to be blank?
It is supposed to be blank.
Is it like a surprise game or?
It's a vote. We don't know who's gonna be yet.
Oh,
Council will vote on who we choose to fill that position. And we don't
you have a
know,
list,
we have a list.
like you did, I forget.
It was not a list that was put out.
Okay, I was just curious, because I've never seen a blank.
Well, there's blanks.
And I can speak to number 6. I had number 6.
Oh, yeah,
I needed some clarification that I did not get in time.
Okay, I was just, that was my question. Thanks.
In terms of number 9, I can just, legally, the only requirement is that we put the public on notice, this subject will be considered. It could be the council was not in agreement, I don't know,
Okay,
and they're gonna decide tonight, but the public is aware that this issue and that position may be considered.
okay.
Do we have a pay rate for number 9?
We don't.
So we're gonna appoint a position?
We will.
With an open, hey, would you write your check or whatever?
No, we won't.
I'm just asking, I mean, you know,
It will be
we talk about
discussed.
being, you know, financially responsible, but you're gonna put how much the person's gonna make on it.
We don't even know if the person who we will vote on is going to accept the position. So how could we have a figure?
There is no salary set yet.
How are we going to, do we just pick a number out of the air?
Well, I'm asking you, I mean, is he gonna make more than chief?
No.
How do we know?
No, he's not.
This is a public meeting, I mean, it should be on.
You're allowed to ask.
It
We
should be
don't
on
have.
tape what this person is gonna
I
make.
answered you.
So we don't know, we're gonna vote on something we don't know we're gonna.
You're not voting, we are.
No, I see you're gonna vote.
Right.
Right?
We are.
Do we have a start date?
We don't.
So we're just, hey, you know what, if you want the job, we'll give it to you at whatever rate, on whatever date. I mean, is that how we're running the show? I'm just asking.
I'm answering you. It'll be done tonight. So whoever's voted on will be sworn in whenever. Tonight, tomorrow, doesn't matter.
I can speak for myself. I personally interviewed both candidates themselves. I talked to them about what their strategies were, what they thought their strengths and weaknesses were, where they saw the Munhall Police Department going. I also talked to other people that were from the public and former members of the police force, okay? So myself, I can speak for myself in my vote that I spent a significant amount of time and effort making decisions because I know that this decision is very important, okay? So I can't speak for everyone else here, but I believe the other members of the council have taken quite a bit of thought in making their decision. And not everyone here has agreed, at all.
You're not going to, you got to agree with it. But the person you should make sure he agrees with is that guy right there, because he has to work next to that person till the day he retires or the day he fires.
100% guaranteed agree with you.
That's the guy right there who should make that decision.
You're right.
And get it in to you guys, and you go from there, because he has to work next to that person.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Can we, 1 second?
Sure.
So, the way the process works, okay, there are 2 appointed positions, the chief and the assistant chief, okay? They're appointed by the council, okay? The mayor works for the police chief, okay? So, past this, our decision on whatever candidate, police chief's gonna have to manage the assistant chief the way he does the rest of his staff. So, it's not a light decision. I hope you don't think we would make this a light decision, so.
Well, you're welcome. I appreciate, you're a bit more open and honest about things, I appreciate that.
We're not telling anyone. No one's hiding anything.
But you keep pushing shit along, man. So go ahead, move on to me. That's all you want to do, push it.
Anything else you'd like to say?
That's all I got for right now, but
Okay.
if I get something else, I'll let you know.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to say about items of consideration? Okay. Motion 1, to pay bills for the period of June 14th, 2022 through July 11th, 2022 is summarized as follows. With the total being $995,672.93. I need a motion. Question. Do you need a motion or a question first again?
Motion, technically it's motion. Second.
Motion, second, then question.
Okay, I need a motion first.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Do we have any questions? Is that how it's supposed to be done? That's correct. Thank you very much. Any questions? Are we all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So we're all in favor. Motion passes. Motion to approve payroll for the period of June 8th and June 22nd, 2022. And you can see both numbers here. June 8th is $154,334, and June 22nd is $122,462. I need a motion.
All motion.
I second.
Any questions? Okay, I need a vote. Are we all unanimous?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Resolution authorizing SRCOG, what is it?
Steel Rivers Cog.
Steel Rivers Cog to release payment in the amount of $33,850 to J. Caruso for CD 47 catch basin work based on our engineer's report. So what does CD mean?
Community development.
Is that right, Seth?
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion. I need a motion,
Motion.
and I need a second.
Second.
And any questions on this? Any idea where most of this work's going to be done? Is it aimed in a particular area, Seth?
It's already completed.
It's completed. There you go.
Yeah, this was last year's money, and this was the final release of allowing the COG to release the payment.
Thank you very much for that information. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. I'm just wondering why it goes in different numbers here. 1, 2, then it drops down to number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Because it renumbered it for me while I was doing it, and I didn't notice.
Okay? That's what I was,
Typo on my end.
I was stymied there for a second. I thought, wait a minute here.
Write this up.
I was stymied.
I'm impressed you saw that, Rick.
So, I am too.
Thank you for publicly calling me out. but-
I'm sorry. Not a big deal. Okay. So you all were laughing at me because I didn't know where I was at there, and I was like, wait a minute. All right, let's accept the bid from J. Caruso Paving of Raymond Bodner Way under a DCED multimodal grant and parking area underneath at cost to the borough. Total bid amount is $327,000 and $327,104. I need a motion. I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
I need a roll call vote, or are we all in favor? You all in favor?
Aye.
We're all in favor. Okay, we're going to accept the contract with Cargill Incorporated for the purchase of road salt as determined by sealed bid through the Shaycog Purchasing Alliance at a cost of $88.96 per ton. I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Are we all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that a good price for rock salt?
Right now, it's probably the second best that you can get, the best being you would have had to have applied well before I was hired.
Okay.
Well, I think it used to be around in the 70s a couple of years.
Yeah, it's gone
I
up
remember seeing it like
significantly.
72, 75 from my memory.
So it's a good price.
Yeah,
So
the state's
it's
usually
a little bit, but it has a little.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, number 4, approve the fraud, waste, and abuse policy for employees and officials of Munhall Borough. I need a motion,
Motion.
I motion.
and I need a second.
I'll second.
Who are you
I know
for?
who's covered.
Randy will give you the motion first.
I'll give you the motion first, for sure.
Okay, who's got the second?
Second?
Dave.
Dave has the second. Okay. Any questions on this? All council have read this?
Yes.
Okay. Are we all unanimous Aye. Any nays? We're all in favor then. Number 6, approve closing the cross streets between Margaret.
No, skip 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Approve the investment fund balance policy for Munhall Borough. I need a motion.
Motion.
I second.
Are we all in favor? Any questions?
Yeah, you know what, that's a pretty tough, thing here. If we could get Seth to explain what actually that is before we vote on it.
Well, I'm quite familiar with it, and Seth has gone this over with me, and I would definitely like Seth to explain it to the public.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a two-part policy, which actually is in reverse. The fund balance, it is always recommended that you have a rainy day fund. We don't have any policy for that. So this policy instructs us to take any excess funds we may have and build up a rainy day fund to between 10 and 20% of the borough fund balance should there be either a downturn, an increase in expenses, anything that may happen. And obviously funds go beyond that to be used at council's discretion for whatever purposes. The second part is the investment policy, which council had actually initiated last month, allowing for, or instructing me as the borough manager to take any excess funds that we may have at any point, and much like a business with a sweep account, move it into appropriate investments as allowed for by state law. Pennsylvania, or municipalities in Pennsylvania, are not allowed to play the stock market or do anything that will actually lose money. So therefore, we are very limited in what we can invest in, but we can right now, thank you Federal Reserve, get some pretty decent rates by moving things to different markets versus keeping it just in a checking account. So the core of that is to build a fund balance so that we can survive a rough time and to invest the money appropriately so that we can get there faster.
Any questions on that?
Seth, can you tell the public what we put in? What we put into the bank, the amount?
That I moved over?
Yeah.
With their initial approval of doing so, and with the taxes having just come due, I was actually able to move $1 million over into a higher yield. It will actually be giving us over 2% interest in the short haul. And that money will then come back as needed to pay the bills throughout the rest of the year.
So is that money in the general fund then?
Technically, it's in the general fund, but it's not in our regular general fund checking account.
So when someone asked earlier, we were talking about $2 million in the general fund, is that money accounted in that fund?
Yes, that's part of it.
Okay, very good. So we're being pretty proactive on that, and this is something that Seth has brought to the borough, and I think it's a good program. Very good.
And unlike anybody who invests in CDs or anything, where you've got to go 7 months, 9 months, you can go this for 30 days. So I mean, any amount of money that you can make is to our benefit. So thank you, Seth.
All right, so do we vote on this yet?
No, we need to.
So we have a first and a second, and we have a all in favor. Any questions? Any more questions? Okay, so are we all in favor? Aye. Okay, number 6, approve closing the cross streets between Margaret and McClure Streets and blank to blank.
Let me clarify that because I got clarification. It's actually a smaller area. It will be actually closing East 10th between Margaret and Brook Way between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., which is just south of Kennedy Park and just west of the library.
And can you tell us what this is for?
Yep. Fellowship 412 is holding a community event that day, and they're asking for that block to be closed, and they will be allowing residential traffic who live there during that time.
Who's the group? I know you said that will ship 412? Who are they?
They're
Are they
associated
music?
with, yeah, they're associated with the church.
What church?
That one I.
The Hungarian Reformed Church, is that what's there?
Is that the one that, unfortunately, is somebody who's not familiar with all the aspects.
So it's
That's who they are.
basically a block party where they're closing the street and they're gonna celebrate.
I think it's Allegheny Center Alliance Church.
Okay. And he definitely said the time between the hours of 10 and 6 p.m. And it's for the community event hosted by Fellowship 412, on August 21st, 2022. I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Any other questions? Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Seth, thank you for explaining that. This is number 7, ratify the vote to terminate administrative employee number 60. I need a motion.
Motion.
I moved.
Motion by Bill.
Right.
I need a second.
I second.
Any questions?
Question.
Speak.
I want to speak on Becky's behalf, if you don't mind.
Well, we're not naming employees, so you
I
did,
think
but go ahead.
I think everybody knows who it is.
Okay.
She worked her butt off here for the past year or so, and without any help, without any help from anybody. She worked 2-3 jobs at one time. And Lorraine Fry, you were in the office with her on different occasions. You worked with her, and you know how she worked. And then to go and terminate her for a simple mistake, I can't see it. Since other employees of this borough did a lot worse than she did by stealing from the borough, and nothing was done about it.
So do you continue to just let it roll, or do you start to set an example?
I can't hear you.
So do you continue to allow this to go on, or do you start to set an example? Wrong, in my eyes, is wrong.
Oh, what's wrong? I don't think, misplacing funds or whatever it was, compared to stealing from the borough is 2 different things.
So let's take a step back here. I don't know if we should be speaking about employees
No,
in a council meeting in public.
Well,
We had executive session and talked about this.
Well, I think the public should know about it.
Well, you can certainly go out and speak on your own.
Okay, fine. Well, I just want to say that she is a hell of an employee, and she did a lot of work and worked her butt off on this.
Okay.
And do something like this to her, I think it's nothing but a witch hunt. Period.
Well, you're continuing your rant. Please, let's get a roll call vote here, or a motion. I need a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
We have motion and seconds. A roll call vote, please.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Ms. Fry,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
With a comment, anytime you have to terminate anyone, it is an unfortunate situation. If anyone thinks that anyone here is taking this lightly, we haven't. Yes.
Mr. Rondo.
With a comment, I think now that the cat's out of the bag, and everybody should know what's going on, I will not be the one to say anything, but do I think that this is an appropriate thing? I do. So I will vote aye on.
Mr. Stein?
No.
Mr. Vodadian?
No.
Mr. Youngkins?
Yes.
So 5-2.
Okay, we're striking motion number 8. Motion number 9. So we're going to have a vote on this. This will be a roll call vote for appointment to Assistant Chief of the Munhall Police Department.
I think, if I can intervene.
Sure.
Probably the best way to go about this, if someone makes a motion and names an individual to be appointed as assistant chief, it will require a second. Following that, there'll be a vote. And obviously, you need a majority. If you don't have a majority, then you need to name another person.
So you want to do each name individually at one time?
One name first.
Well, you
and
could
if-
do,
if
yeah,
they
there's
win.
two ways to go about it. You can name one person, someone makes a motion to appoint Joe Smith as the assistant chief, and if there's a second, you vote on it. Or you could call for nominations. I nominate Joe Smith, I nominate Betty Smith. And then you vote and see where the votes fall. You go by either way.
Can I nominate?
No.
No? It has to be a councilman that can nominate?
Yes.
Okay, so can I open up the floor to
Yes,
nominations?
Yes.
All right, is that
Go
okay?
with option 2.
Yes.
Nominations.
I'm going to go for nominations. So I'd like to, at this point in time, I'd like to open the floor up for councilmen to nominate persons of interest who they would like to nominate for the assistant chief position.
I'll nominate. Second.
Then,
Oh,
another person.
Sergeant Cease.
And then, do we go through each councilman?
No, just, any other nominations?
Any other nominations?
Yeah. I nominate Jamie Caterina.
Okay.
One more time, call for any more.
Are there any other nominations that would like to be made? Okay. So we have two nominees. So we'd like to have a roll call vote now.
Roll call vote for name your preferred candidate to be appointed as assistant chief.
Okay, Seth?
Mr. Brennan,
Michael Cease?
Ms. Fry,
Michael Cease.
Mr. Hannah,
Detective Caterina.
Mr. Rondo,
Sergeant Cease.
Mr. Stein,
Officer Caterina.
Mr. Bodedian,
Officer Caterina.
and Mr. Youngkins.
Officer Caterina. Okay, it will be Officer Caterina.
And again, just to get back to this gentleman's inquiry, he did make a valid point about the salary, and as President Brennan's already indicated, Officer Caterina has to first accept the position, and then it's a personnel discussion about a salary the council agrees on. He would have to accept it, and there'll be a vote next month to approve whatever salary is agreed upon if he accepts the position.
Perfect, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any public comments? Okay. Any additional items, council?
Yes, I think one of the things in reference to these committees, okay, I can tell you right now, and I'll give you an example. There is a parking committee, okay? I can't do 1,000 jobs. So we're mentioning recreation. Gentlemen, we need help. Need help. It's not insignificant here, okay? Because I think Trotman is reasonably easy, right? But we have Vine Street that we've been talking about recreation for, say, adults, okay? There were basketball courts up there at one time with hoops. They were taken down. They were taken down because, Chief, why, you remember why they were taken down? In Vine Street?
I'm sorry, I was on.
So Vine Street, the park, the basketball hoops were taken down at the request of?
The residents.
Correct. Okay, so now, see, this is the kind of thing, this is not an insignificant amount of money, okay? So this does require right there input, okay? So, I'd like your input. Because, you know, what do we do with that? $221,000 is not an insignificant amount of money, but playground equipment, it is amazing how much playground equipment is, folks. You know, you could spend, you know, you could buy a house with playground equipment, okay? I'm just being fair about it. You have to be registered to assemble it. It has to have an approved design. There's a lot to it. There is a lot of red tape. And it would be great if we had feedback from the community in reference to that, okay? Especially, you know, you've got a younger group of people. My son's in his 30s, so he's not gonna go to a playground anytime soon, I believe. Okay, so we're doing it now for this generation of, you know, young children, you know, growing up, and I think that's a smart thing to do. So any of these committees, quite honest, we need your help.
The neighborhood's changing, especially in the lower, it's changing. But look at the house that's gone for sale on $200,000. You know, 10 years ago, we would never expected that. You know, and we've taken playgrounds from the kids down there in the past. We need to be giving back to the kids. These people coming here buying houses, right, crazy amounts of money, we need to be catering them, because that's what we need. We need to keep moving our community forward. I'll help with anything I can. But like you, my plate's just as full too. You know, but I give as much time as I can to the community. If you need help, I'm here.
Okay. Look for committee meetings. All committee meetings are open to the public too. So if you see a recreation committee come up or a finance committee meeting come up, they're open to the public. You can come.
Thank you, I'm good.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone?
Can I make a statement?
Sure.
I just want to say that down on 12th Avenue, the Boy Scout has been working on his Eagle project, and he raised all the money himself and put that dog park in down to 12th Avenue. And the opening is going to be on July 30th, and I think it'll be an asset to the community. And he raised all the money himself. So I think he did a hell of a job on doing that. I just want to give him some praise.
Do we have a time on that yet, on the 30th?
Pardon me?
Do we have a time yet on that?
I don't have the time. I've been trying to get a hold of him.
I'll give Ray a call. Ray will know. Ray Highland will know.
I'll have it posted on the website.
And that's not open to the public.
Yeah, it's open to the
You have to have a
public,
key
but
to
you
get
have to join, you know, you have to,
You have to have a key
have
to
a
get
key
in.
to get in.
So you have to be part of the key club.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's not open to the public.
well, if you want to join, you
Just
can.
pointing it out.
Okay,
We better have a key for all the parks for $221,000 in it.
well, you know what happened.
It'll be $440,000 matching,
That's my point.
right?
I mean, he
And we're all
worked,
gonna have to have a key.
he worked hard to get the.
I know, and yay, but it's not open to the public because we all know why.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Why?
Why?
We don't know why. Why?
Why isn't it open to the public?
I don't know.
Emma, I
Why
don't-
isn't it open to the public?
We don't
I
know.
don't know.
Yeah, you do.
No, we don't. Ask Mr. Bodadian, why is it
Why
not
isn't
open in
it open to the
public?
What happened to the
public?
playground that we put $90,000 into it?
Who did?
Who did?
Huh?
Who did?
We did.
Okay.
We meaning Munhall
What
Council?
happened to it?
Yes.
I don't know, what happened to it?
It got destroyed
It got destroyed.
by the kids.
Who's trash?
Okay.
We're all gonna act like we don't know why there's a key on the gate. Give me a break.
Emma, I'll speak for myself, babe. I didn't know.
I didn't know it was,
I didn't know.
I just found out now.
Neither did I.
Isn't a dog park just grass and dirt for dogs to run?
Well, there was a park there for kids, but a bunch of people destroyed it. And then the previous council didn't feel that it was mandatory to replace it, and neither does this council.
Whoa, whoa.
No, whoa, whoa, whoa,
The
whoa.
park was given to the fire, to the fire
It was the
company to
replacement
put
for
a
Lower
dog
Munhall.
park. What's that?
Was the park replacement for Lower Munhall with the $400,000.
That was allocated, that money was allocated prior. That money has to be
Change it.
spent? No, you can't. Seth, can you change the money allocation?
No, actually, council had originally proposed 3 projects. The state told them of the 3 that were chosen to pick 2. I don't believe that the one that was not chosen was, certainly wasn't the one that was given to the fire hall.
No, it wasn't.
But the state told us to limit which ones we did, and that we were limited to the ones that we had, that council had originally stated whenever the grant was applied for, which would have been 2019, would have been the application for the grant. And that's common with, you can shrink your projects, you cannot add things on a state grant.
Right now, they're using the upper lot as a dog park to bring their dogs in, and there is a lock on it, and the people do have a key to get in and out, and I think it's working fine, and
What about the lower part? What about the lower part of the area down there? What's that used for?
well, that's where the new dog park's gonna go.
They're gonna expand the new dog park?
Yeah.
that
It ain't gonna be
is the new dog
expanded. It's just it's a whole new area.
I know, I've been there.
Okay.
So I thought maybe you're not using the whole area, but you are using that whole area. Got it.
Kind of.
Okay.
Who gives the key? Or do you have to pay for the key?
No, you can see what, the fireman will handle that as far as,
The fireman at the fire hall?
Number 1 fire hall.
filling out an application and, getting the key.
Okay.
That's all you gotta do.
Okay, anyone else?
Well, regarding the dog park, is it gonna have one area for the big dogs and one for the little dogs, or is just one big one?
Not sure, I'll refer to Mr. Votadian there, Councilman Votadian. Is there separate areas for big dogs and little dogs?
No, not really, no.
Okay,
I take my dog up to West Mifflin Dog Park, and they've got one for small dogs and one for big dogs. Everybody seems to use the bigger one most of the time. Worked well. It was put in by Scout for a project. And they just fixed it up for a couple of months. It was closed.
Well, right now, there hasn't been a problem with it. The one that they're using now, it's been working fine, and nobody's complained about it, so we just left it alone.
Okay. The one in West Mifflin's really nice. I mean, they put benches there for people to sit and people
But there's
bring chairs.
there's
and-
benches there, there's a gazebo there where you can sit under a roof and play cards or whatever while your dog's running around.
Okay, thanks.
There is water down there too, is there water?
There will be.
Okay, that's important that the water hook up for the dog park.
I got something.
anyone else?
Yeah, so, as Councilman Votadian had said about the Boy Scout who actually did that park down there by number 1 fire hall. I don't know if anybody took notice of, on Memorial Day, if you went to the Memorial Day service at the Homestead Cemetery, if anybody took notice of the work that was done by another Boy Scout who did that for his Eagle Scout. And going up there and seeing what was done and actually getting some history on that, those cannons that he redid and painted and the cannonballs and stuff like that actually came off of a ship. If you look at those things, imagine the size of that ship where those cannons came from. And it was done, and they put mulch in, and he planted flowers and stuff like that. And when I did speak with them, that's when we were having the rainy part of the season, where the podium is, in front of the Civil War monument, they couldn't pour concrete. Plus, they didn't even know how they were going to get concrete down in there because of the tombstones and stuff that were there. Am I correct? Am I correct in that? They couldn't get cement truck and stuff down in there. But I'll tell you what, nothing was said about that, and that was Captain Snyder's, I don't know, what's his first name? Captain Snyder's son? Brendan. So if you happen to have a couple minutes in your day, take a ride up there and take a look at that monument for the work that he did. And I do not believe up until this point, he was not acknowledged for what he did. So I'm acknowledging him now.
I mean, it's good you acknowledge it, but he hasn't, the project, until the project's finished, he is not Eagle Scout. Once they pour the concrete, there'll be a ceremony for him.
I understand. And also too, young fellow who went for his Eagle Scout and did the monument up in the co-op. Take a ride up there and take a look at that. So if you think that these young men aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, they are. And they have been doing excellent jobs. So let's give them, or today's youth, a little bit of credit.
Hear, hear.
Agreed.
Anyone else?
Real quick, for those that didn't know, Officer Pond was, his dad died unexpectedly this morning.
No, you're correct.
Oh, man.
Yep. Okay. I need a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Need a second.
I second.
Meeting adjourned.